The accent method is one of the holistic approaches of behavior readjustment voice therapy. It entails two main tasks. Number one, recommendation of vocal hygiene advice. And number two, correction of the faulty vocal technique or habit. Vocal hygiene advice is minimized. Counseling is individually planned and is designed to be simple, clear, and easy to follow. It resolves itself into recommendations along two main lines: do not do category and try to do category. The first category instructs against smoking, screaming, and spirits or alcoholic beverages. The second category advises to increase fluid intake, to overhydrate the body, and to avoid violent clearing of the throat. The main goal of the accent method is to achieve better control of speech and voice production. For voice production, it is believed that such a task is accomplished by increasing the laryngeal airflow and the enhancement of the Bernoulli effect at the glottis. This is achieved mainly through better breath support effected by accentuated rhythmic abdomino-diaphragmatic expiratory pulses. The latter guarantees also better prosody of the speech utterance. The technical principles of the accent method may be summarized as follows. Number one, abdomino-diaphragmatic breath support. Number two, accentuated rhythmic vowel play in phonation and later accentuated articulated speech. Number three, dynamic movement of body and arms and articulators. The training technique is resolved into a hierarchical program that can be practically and realistically delivered to the patient. The domains of exercises are the breathing exercises, the phonatory exercises, and dynamic body and arm movements. Abdomino-diaphragmatic breathing is trained in the sitting position, except in few rigid patients where the training starts in the supine position. Voiceless fricatives like and sh are used during the expiratory exercises while training the abdomino-diaphragmatic breathing. It is important to assure relaxation of the upper chest and shoulders while transferring all respiratory efforts to the abdominal level. Further steps of the accent method may be trained while the patient is sitting, standing, or even walking. At the initial phase of the therapy, the patient may not be able to follow the pace of the therapist, but soon the training will take the form of a ping-pong play between the therapist and the patient. The patient follows and repeats what the therapist is saying and doing, following the particular rhythm of the accent method. Before proceeding to the rhythmic vocal exercises, it is advisable to demonstrate the basic rhythms used in the accent method. The first rhythm is the largo. It is a 3/4 beat that will look and sound like this. Three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. The following rhythm is the andante, which is a 4/4 beat that will look and sound like this. The last rhythm is the allegro. It is a 4/4 beat, but with double the speed of the andante. On the drum, it will look almost the same like the andante. So it is like this. Utilizing the newly acquired abdomino-diaphragmatic breathing, the patient is allowed to sing the various vowels at a slow 3/4 largo rhythm. During these vocal exercises, breathing is in the form of an uninterrupted cycle of abdomino-diaphragmatic respiration comprising of a comfortable inspiration followed by an accentuated expiration. The latter is formed of an initial short and weak segment followed immediately by a long and accentuated segment. There is no rest or pause within or between cycles. The phonatory exercises start usually with a soft, breathy voice in order to effectively minimize the tendency to strained phonation. The goal of this stage of training is to produce at each cycle an accentuated final long relaxed phonation with easy glottal attack and without vocal fry at the end of the utterances. the fast rhythm of 4/4 andante, and later the 4/4 allegro, which has double the speed of the andante, are then introduced, aiming at the production of repeated short phonations with an increasing length of the series of utterances. A modified breathing pattern is adapted to fit the vocal exercises of these last two rhythms. This breathing pattern is most suited to connect speech, which is the final goal of the application of the accent method. The inspiratory phase, still being abdominodiaphragmatic, is quick and deep. This inspiration is taken immediately before the vocal utterances. After the vocal utterances, the patient is asked to pause in a relaxed manner until the next vocalization in this ping-pong game. At that moment, the patient inhales quickly and deeply, to be followed by the vocal utterances, copying the therapist's performance. yo 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 yo.
Oh yo 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 yo.
Ba 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 ba.
Ba 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 ba.
Ba 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 ba.
Ba 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 ba.
Boo 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 boo.
Boo 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 boo.
Be be be.
Be be be.
Boo boo boo.
Boo 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 boo.
Be be be.
Be 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 be.
No 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 no.
No 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 no.
Na 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 na.
Na 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 na.
No 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 no.
No 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 no.
Be be ba boo.
Be ba ba boo.
Be be be.
Be 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 be.
Oh 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 oh.
Oh 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 oh.
Hey 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 hey.
Hey 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 hey.
Hey 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 hey.
Hey 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 hey.
Ah 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 ah.
Ah 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 ah.
Ah 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 ah.
Ah 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 ah.
Ah ah ah.
Ah 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 ah.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh 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 ooh.
Ee ee
Ee ee ee.
ee.
Ee ee ee.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ee ah oh.
Ee ah oh.
Oh 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 oh.
Oh 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 oh.
Ah ah ah.
Ah ah ah.
Hey hey hey.
Hey 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 hey.
Hey 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 hey.
Hey 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 hey.
Ah ah ah.
Ah ah ah.
Oh 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 oh.
Oh 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 oh.
Hey 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 hey.
Hey 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 hey.
Oh yo 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 yo.
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 Ah yeah yeah yeah.
Ah yeah yeah yeah.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Hey yeah 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 yeah.
Hey 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 hey.
Oh bo 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 bo.
Oh 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 oh.
Ee ee ee.
Yeah.
Oh oh oh.
Oh 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 oh.
Oh oh oh.
Oh 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 oh.
Oh oh oh.
Oh 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 oh.
Hey hey ah.
Hey 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 yeah.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ee ee ee.
Ee ee.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Ooh ooh ooh.
Hey 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 hey.
Hey 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 hey.
This stage of training continues with interplay between the different types of rhythms till the patient masters the new healthy vocal techniques while vocalizing the rhythmic vowel play. Variation of the intensity of phonation is resorted to aiming at increasing the dynamic range of voice. During this dynamic rhythmic training exercises, attention is directed to number 1, adjustment of the patient's general posture, especially the neck, shoulders and back. Number 2, activation of the articulators. Number 3, widening of the pharynx. Dynamic movements of the body and arms are introduced at this stage of the training to ensure relaxation that will help maximize the gain in the new healthy vocal technique. Oh, oh.
Ho ho.
Hey, hey.
Hey hey.
He,
He.
ha, ha.
Ha.
Ho, ho.
Ho ho.
Hey, hey.
Hey hey.
Ooh, ooh. hey.
Hey.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Hee.
Hee.
Oh, 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 oh.
Ho, 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 ho.
Hey, 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 hey.
Hey, 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 hey.
Hoi, 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 hoi.
Hi, 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 hi.
Ai, 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 ai.
Hi, 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 hi.
Hey, 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 hey.
Hey, 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 hey.
Oi, 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 oi.
Hi, 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 hi.
Ai, 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 ai.
Ay, 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 ay.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, 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 oh.
Hey, 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 hey.
Hey, 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 hey.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Ah, wow, wow, wow.
Ah, wow, wow, wow.
Hey, 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 hey.
Ay, 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 ay.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, 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 oh.
Ha, 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 ha.
Ah, 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 ah.
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
As soon as the patient reaches a reasonable control of the rhythmic accentuated vowel play, simple articulated speech utterances are introduced by the therapist to be followed and copied by the patient. The following steps will lead the patient to the ultimate goal of using the newly acquired healthy vocal habits in spontaneous dialogue through tasks of gradually escalating difficulty. In the following order. Number 1, articulation of nonsense consonant vowel syllables following the natural prosody of the native language. Number 2, repetition of simple utterances after the therapist. Number 3, reading. Then number 4, monologue, and finally dialogue. The transfer of the newly healthy vocal technique to connected speech during dialogue requires the automatic control of the following tasks. Number 1, abdomino-diaphragmatic breath support. Number 2, soft attack, optimal pitch, and no terminal vocal fry. Number 3, rhythmic accentuated intonation of articulated speech. The stage of the transfer to connected speech, which is naturally language dependent, may be protracted. It should continue till the new behaviors become automatic. It should be noted that in daily life one has enough trouble with what to say, so that one should not be distracted by thinking of how to say it. Despite the general guidelines of adapting the basic tempos of the accent method to the different language prosodies, the clinician enjoys a degree of freedom in this application. The clinician should ensure, however, that the patient has acquired the following. Number 1, better coordination of well-spaced inspirations. Number 2, better phrasing with suitable pauses. Number 3, optimal speech rate. And number 4, avoidance of speaking on residual air.